Hey guys, it's Killplix. Usually for my top games of the year, I show the gameplay and I do fancy edits and all that. But this year I'm going to do it more casual. 2015 I didn't even do one because I didn't even have a top 10 game that I didn't. There weren't even 10 games that I liked in 2015. I think I had like 8 or 5. It was just my personal preference, I guess, but it seems like 2015 was a bit of a drought in gaming, and this year was like ridiculous. This year had tons and tons of games that I was into. Also, forgive my voice, I got a cold. Nothing I can do about that. But yeah. So, in this video, I'm doing this live, by the way. I'm live streaming this. And I'm going to try and narrow down what my top 10 games of 2016 were. And this is going to be tough. This is going to be a really tough one because I have probably 15 games on my list that I got to narrow down. And I'm really picky about the orders when I do this type of thing. Like, I usually spend days and days just fine-tuning my list. But I'm just going to, like, casually do this. I guess we'll start at 10. This is going to be really hard. So, let's start, huh? Number 10 at the top left. Is that displaying? No, it's not for the stream, but it will for my flipping video, so that's what matters. I wonder if I can edit in real time. There's gotta be a way to edit in real time. Yeah, whatever. I should have messed with that earlier, huh? So number 10 will be... No, let's do disappointing first. Top 2 my disappointing games of the year. So, number 1 disappointing game. That's gonna be... Well, actually, I don't think I'll have them numbered. Just my disappointing game. I have 2 games on that list, which will be... First one, I'm gonna have to be Shadow Warrior 2. That game disappointed me so much. I was so hyped for Shadow Warrior 2. Because the first one was amazing. It had it was on my top game of that year. I don't remember which year. But Shadow Warrior 1 was so good. It had amazing combat. And that's what all that matters about it. The gameplay was so fun. And the level design was good and linear, which fits the game, in my opinion. It was, just the cutting mechanics, the weapons, the special moves you can earn, and the flow of combat was absolutely ridiculous. So number 2 is coming out. I'm hyped for it, but then I start seeing that they want to implement co-op. And usually in games, co-op's always good, but I was immediately turned off by the co-op aspect of a Shadow Warrior game. I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting more antisocial in my old age. I am, but that could have something to do with it, but I did not like the idea of co-op. But what turned me off the most seeing all these previews for it was they kept saying the levels were procedurally generated. That word is not a positive anymore in gaming, in my opinion. Procedurally generated games automatically makes me turned off from it. And I'm going to assume most people get turned off from that as well. If you hear the word procedurally generated, you're like, what do you feel when you hear that? You just feel like random garbled mess of a level thrown together with no cohesive pacing or anything. It's just a mess. So that's immediately what enters my mind when I hear that, and that's what went through my mind when I was hearing all the previews for this. The gameplay and graphics looked amazing in the previews, so I remained hopeful, and someone gifted me the game, thankfully. And so the game comes out, and it turns out to be more of a Borderlands-esque, procedurally generated mess. Like, every enemy you kill drops a billion things. They're like piñatas. And you have this inventory just chock full of useless crap. You spent 80% of that game in inventory looking through, like, tiny, minuscule stat boosts, like +1 to attack, +2 to enter, like, lightning. And you got hundreds of this crap. It completely destroys the pace of the game. That's one of the biggest issues I have. The second issue is, you know, I'm actually, now that I'm rethinking it, the procedural generation in this game isn't terrible. It's well done procedurally generation. Most of the time it feels like a well planned out, designed map of the levels. Sometimes it gets jank. Like, I have a screenshot of just this, like, garbled mess of stuff, like, clipping through each other and levels. You can see the bottom of the level and everything, but the procedural generation didn't turn me off as much as I thought it would, which is good. But like I said, it turned into a Borderlands, and enemies were just nothing but bullet sponges. In the first game, you just swipe a guy, whew, there goes his head. Satisfying, amazing. In this game, swipe a guy, it shows a damage counter. Swipe a guy, damage counter. And he's just still attacking you. A regular human being is just swinging away at you, and you're swinging away at him, and there's no strategic element to it because it's just a bullet sponge enemy that you just gotta swipe at for 10 minutes until he dies. And what the first one was about was just this fast-paced, gruesome, tearing apart mess. There's a guy there, slice his head off, dodge this guy, slice him in half. But now it's just like slice at the same guy over and over and over again, and all finesse is gone, and you don't even feel like you want to dodge and move. You just take a hit and just keep swiping, take a hit, keep swiping until he dies. The flow's gone, the satisfaction's gone, and oh, that disappointed me so much about this game. The biggest positive about this game is the visuals. It is gorgeous, and I could not stop taking screenshots. But that's all the game turned into me was, or that's all the game turned into to me was, it was just a screenshot game. Like, this is gorgeous, I'm gonna take screenshots. Oh, there's enemies, how annoying, go away. I just want to take screenshots of this area. That's all the game became to me. I hated it. I hated that. So, that is my number one disappointment. It totally is my disappointment of the year. Shadow Warrior 2. Let's move on to the second disappointment of the year. So I do only have two. And again, this is fast and loose. I'm just editing it as I go. Okay, second disappointing game of the year. I think it's just my fault, personally, that I think I had weird expectations for this game or something. I don't know what. But Battlefield 1, that disappointed me. Extremely. And I don't know why I bought the game. I bought it with my own money. I played the beta. I was not impressed at all. It disappointed me. I was turned off so much. And I thought, let's give it a chance. Let's buy the game. So I bought Battlefield 1. The gunplay is amazing. The gunplay in this game is great. Hey, could you make more of a noisy mess over there? So the gunplay is amazing and great. I'm trying to figure out what it is about this game that disappointed me so much. I think I know what it is. It suffers the same issues that Battlefront has, is in the fact that there's no depth to this game. It is so shallow. You jump in and shoot at things and that is it. In previous Battlefield games, there's so much more depth and tactical precision. There's no, it's just, I think that's what they're going for, is just like a gritty, grimy, just point, shoot, that's it, that's the game. But it lost so much of what Battlefield is along the way, to me. Like, in previous Battlefields, it's like, hey guys, I'm gonna go take this flag, cover my back, blah, blah, blah. And then this one is just like, running, shooting. That's all this game seems to be. It's like every level is Metro. And I hate Metro. Another thing is that there's no unlocks. There are unlocks. There's like 10 guns per class, but like 5 guns are the same gun with a different attachment on it. Instead of having one gun and then attachments down the list, you have 5 guns. One has a grip, one has a different scope, one has a different scope, one shoots faster, but they're all the same gun type. There is such a lack of unlocks in this game compared to 4. It is mind-boggling. 4 had, hundreds upon hundreds of unlocks, and then every single weapon had billions of attachments to those. And people make the complaint that they don't want to sit and play a game to unlock, but to me, in a multiplayer game, that is the incentive to continue playing the multiplayer game, to get the unlocks, to see what there is. And because of Battlefield 1's lack of unlocks, it's like, this is the game. There's nothing going forward but this. Shooting guys. Like, you're gonna get money to unlock the same gun that you have that might have a different sight on it, and that's it. I don't know. I think another problem could be because I'm playing solo in this game, and all the previous I play with other people. So that's probably a big issue in Battlefield 1, is playing solo could be a big turnoff. And it is to me. It would be nice to have a lot of friends to play with, but I honestly don't know if that would put it up there out of, get it out of the disappointing category, because it does disappoint me extremely. So those are my disappointing games of the year. Yeah. Okay. Now for the hard part. Let's move on to the top 10 games of the year. And I don't know how I'm going to do this. I legitimately don't know how I'm going to do this. Let's look at my list I got over here. I don't know if I should. I don't think. Maybe for the live stream, I'll show you guys in the live stream. But I'm not going to reveal this in the video until I actually start showing the list. So that's actually a good idea. So what I got on my top 10 list, which is actually more than 10, we got... This is a tough flipping list. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Okay. Alright, so I just sat down and we discussed it in my stream. I narrowed down my top 10 games. It was tough, I'm not going to lie. But first, let's do an honorable mention. Honorable mention, we will do. I don't know if I'm spelling this right. Probably not. Honorable, I think that's how you spell it. Honorable mention. I'm going to do good old Ratchet and Clank, the remake on PS4. I don't know if that's the exact name. I mean, I'm looking at the cover right here, and it just says Ratchet and Clank. So this, I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game. I'm sorry, be mad, call me a casual, whatever you want. But I never played them. I always wanted to, I just never got around to it. There were just so many games on PS2, dude. Like, too many games on the PS2, and I just didn't get around to those. So when this remake came out, and I saw the videos and the reviews, and and it was $40 for the retail price, so of course I'm gonna get it. And it's fun, it is great, and the visuals are amazing. Of course, the PS2 version didn't look like that, but it looks so good. And the gameplay is so fun. It is such an old school type, like 3D platforming adventure game, which we're sorely lacking, and I can't wait for Ukulele, but love it. Haven't beaten it yet, so that's one of the biggest reasons getting an honorable mention, but it's such a good game. Good honorable mention, so Ratchet and Clank. Now, top 10 games. Here we go. At number 10, what did we decide? Okay, number 10. This might piss some people off, but I am going to say Dark Souls 3 is my number 10. Okay, I edited my cam so that the stupid text doesn't go over it. That was bugging me. But number 10, Dark Souls 3. It's on my top 10, so of course I liked it. But lots of people are saying it's their favorite Dark Souls of all. And I don't know why. I guess I can see why, but definitely not my favorite Dark Souls. I think Dark Souls 1's still my favorite. But this game was good. It had a lot of bad areas in it, though. There were some areas that were just really dull and not fun. More so than a typical Dark Souls. I'm not saying bad in a good way. Like, it's really hard. I'm saying like bad is just boring. But to be fair, it was made up by amazing areas. There were some fantastic areas in this game. I think there was less bullcrap in this one than the typical Dark Souls game, which is good. There were some bullcrap areas, though, which is bad, but overall, it was just a good game. It's a good Souls game, and I think that it might stay on this list, like, on this rating. Like, if I'm gonna rank my top Souls games right now, like, every day goes by lately, and I just cannot stop thinking of Bloodborne. Is Bloodborne considered a Souls game? Of course it is. Some may disagree, but I disagree with that. It is a Souls game, and I think Bloodborne is my favorite Souls game now. Like, it's an amazing game. So I think Bloodborne, then Dark Souls 1, and I think I'm going to say Demon Souls, and then Dark Souls 3. That's my order of top favorite Souls games. That list probably will change in the future when I think more on it and replay them. But for now, I think that's my list. And I don't like Dark Souls 2 at all. I really just don't like that game, so I don't put that on the list. But yeah, so Dark Souls 3, number 10. It is a good game. I've actually been craving to replay it again, so maybe I'll get about doing that sometime soon. Yeah. So 10, Dark Souls 3. Let's go to number 9. We've got... What do we've got? We got Earth Defense Force. 4.1. I've been a sucker for these games ever since the first one on the Xbox 360. It is just the essence of fun. Just pure innocent, not really innocent, but just pure fun, dude. These games are just, the graphics aren't that great. They're slow down, it's clunky, there's bugs. But it doesn't matter. They're just so fun. Like, just shooting giant ants and flying saucers and robots. Like, this is like the essence of what a kid wants to do as a little kid. And it's just like, it sticks with you. You just want to shoot giant robots and bugs. And the gameplay's solid. The unlocks are endless. Hundreds, if not thousands, of unlocks for all the classes. And it's just so fun to tinker and mess around with. The level designs, there's like 90 something levels. You get your money's worth of these games, and some levels are some are so designed just to have your jaw dropping, and you are. Some levels your jaw is just to the floor as you're just like just shooting and looking up and just like being amazed at the chaos, explosions, and giants toppling buildings. It is such a good game. In fact, man, maybe it should be higher on my list, but we kind of put this list together quickly. But geez, I love Earth Defense Force. Such a good game. Okay, whew. Number 8, Timefall 2. So this game got completely what's the word I'm looking for? Overlooked. It got completely swept under the rug. It did not get the highlight that it deserved because EA's stupid, as usual, releases Battlefield 1, one of their biggest games of the year. Week later, let's throw out Titanfall 2, a game that needs its space to breathe. But no, we're going to just swallow it up. In between Battlefield 1 and the latest Call of Duty. Dumbest thing that EA's done probably this year. Jeez, that game just got buried undeservingly. Titanfall 2 is such... I think... in fact, it is. It is the best multiplayer game of the year. Titanfall 2, best multiplayer game of the year. It is. It is, hands down. This game is amazing. The first one was good, yes, but it was shallow in terms of content. And this one ramped it up. Not only that, but they are releasing maps, balance fixes, and I think even more Titans, from what I understand, for free. No DLC, no season pass bullcrap, and it's not getting rewarded for it. Let's reward the crap that does season passes. Let's reward Battlefield 1 for its like lack of content and like $90 season pass. Let's all buy that and not buy the game that deserves it. Pisses me off. Titanfall 2 deserves all the praise it gets from everybody, because you ask anybody, no one says anything bad about this game. No one does. It's just that no one's playing it because no one knows it came out. So this game's amazing. The flow of combat, the speed, the sliding, the jumping, the double jumping, the Titans, just a fantastic game. Just a fantastic game. I'm playing the single player campaign still. I've beaten it, but it's good and solid, and like it's the full package that everybody wanted. It breaks my heart that this game is not getting the sales and the attention that it deserves. But yeah, Titanfall 2 is going to be my number 8 for sure. Let's move it down to number 7. So, I said Overwatch is my number 7, which kind of goes against my saying that Titanfall 2 is the multiplayer game of the year. So I'm actually going to swap that. I think Overwatch is a number 8. Titanfall is number 7. Like I said, this is going to be casual, fast, and loose. So yeah, I'm changing it. Titanfall 2 is number 7. Overwatch is number 8. Don't get me wrong, Overwatch is a great game. I had zero interest in this game. Everything I saw about it, except Reinhardt. Whenever I saw Reinhardt, I'm like, dude, that guy looks awesome. Every time I'd see like the promo stuff and the teasers, Reinhardt looked so good. But everything about that game, I'm like, nope, not interested. It looks like a stupid 3D MOBA. It looked like Smite or something. Or even that one game. Give me a minute. The one that everybody compares it to, Team Fortress 2. Which is obviously what it is most like. It's mostly like Team Fortress 2. It's a hero-based shooter. So, I don't like Team Fortress 2. I'm not. So I wasn't interested at all. So I wasn't going to buy it. Nothing like that. I don't remember how I got a hold of a beta. I think it just came out to everybody, didn't it? So I got a hold of the beta, and you may as well give it a try. It's free. Why not? So I played the beta, and I loved the crap out of it. It blew me away. I'm like playing. I'm just like, how is this fun? I was going to hate this, wasn't I? No, it's fun. I'm loving this game. Holy crap! So I get of course the game when it comes out, and it's just such a solid package. It is such a solid game. I'm usually not a Blizzard fan. Like I don't understand the Blizzard fandom and how they're obsessed with Blizzard games. But this game is so deserving of all the praise and rewards that it gets. It is such a good game in terms of just tight, solid game. They balance it like weekly. They release maps all the time, and not all the time, but there's constant flow of content, skins and heroes and maps. They do seasonal things where you get like the Halloween season where you get the skins for those, which were amazing, and I'm still sad that I didn't get the Reaper skin. I think if I were to really think hard, I think Overwatch might have been higher on my list, because I hate the idea of buying the loot boxes. Completely against it. I'm completely with Jim Sterling on his whole... If you want to know my complaints about Overwatch, watch Jim Sterling's video on the Overwatch loot crates. Completely agree with him. It's bullcrap. It shouldn't be in the game. You shouldn't have to pay for loot crates. Just them to keep getting money out of people. Just get money out of the weak-willed people, which there are tons of. So I'm not a fan of that whole thing. I wish that it also makes unlocks less rewarding. like I was saying earlier with, like, I wanted the Reaper skin so bad. I wanted the Halloween Reaper skin so bad, and I see people all running around with it. But then I look at them and I think, oh, you guys just bought that. I don't care. So it completely destroys the reward, the feeling of reward and feeling special about getting the skins. Because like, I see people running around with all these different skins, and I just think, you paid for it. You guys just paid for this. Like, so there's nothing special about it, and that ruins it for me. So I'm not a fan of that. But other than that, good game. I love how it, like, caters to everybody. Like, even if you suck at games, you can play this game and still have fun. And like I said, Reinhardt, my favorite character. I love Reinhardt. So yeah, so number 8 is Overwatch. And number 7, Titanfall 2. So, number 6. I had this way high on the list at first, but we moved it down a little because I have not beaten it yet, and I have not apparently reached the point where everybody starts hating the game. Final Fantasy 15. I'm gonna say it right now, I have not left the first countryside area, the Dusky, whatever. I'm 50 hours into this game, and I have not left the first world area yet. It is and 50 hours, that's enough to put on the list. I've enjoyed this heavily. Monster hunting, side quests. I don't even know why. Even they are stupid. The fetch quests, they are so stupid. I hate them, but I love doing them, and I don't know why. It is such a comfy game, and that is the epitome of this game. At least this first area, it is such a comfy game. I love fishing, I love camping, I love riding around on my chocobo, and the combat is fun. And that will be a complaint, though. I think the combat's way too easy. The combat's way too forgiving. It's literally impossible to get game over in this game unless you want it to. And I wish there was a difficulty setting, but there's not. But that's my one complaint about the game, is the combat it's fun, but it's too easy. But I've been doing like higher level monster hunting quests to make it more difficult. But again, I literally could beat a level 50 at level 20 because you cannot lose in this game if you have the amount of items. Just Phoenix Downs, potions, elixirs. But other than that, dude, I love fishing. I love taking screenshots. Even though the game is not as gorgeous as initially thought, it's still pretty good looking in some areas. The game can be pretty dang ugly. The game can be pretty good, awesome looking, but it's a very hit and miss in that area. But I do love just driving around the countryside. The characters, I'm gonna get this out of the way. The English dub, I couldn't stand 5 minutes of it, and I might immediately switch to the Japanese audio. I usually do that in all my games and all my anime. I hate English dubs over the Japanese 90% of the time. So that's probably just a personal preference, but I think Japanese voice actors emote way more seriously, better. They are more serious about their job when they take it more serious, and I think the Japanese voice actors are just a little bit higher than American voice actors when it comes to the Japanese games and anime, because they know where they're coming from. They know their roots. So I think that the English dubs always miss the beats of redubbing a Japanese-made game or anime. So yeah, but going back to where I was starting, the characters, I like all the characters. Ignis gives me a problem. I don't know why Ignis bugs me. Every time I look at his face, I'm like, I hate you. But he's not terrible. I like all the characters. They're all good. Gladios is obviously the best character. He's awesome. I don't know why. He just is. He's cool. But I like the characters. I like their symmetry. Is that the word I'm looking for? Just the way they communicate and get along. I'm so disappointed in... I mean, everybody is. You see the earlier stuff of Final Fantasy 13 Versus, all the early stuff of the CG cutscenes and the story and where it was going with there. I always wonder, why didn't Why did the game go where... Ugh. Like, that could be an hour discussion in itself. Why did it turn out the way it turned out? When the same plot is essentially in Final Fantasy 15 from the earlier stuff we saw. Why did they cut all that out? Why did they cut out the scenes where the dad and the son bonding? Why did they cut out the scene, the part where you're escaping Insomnia, the main city? Why did they cut that out? Where the building's toppling over and you're running, you're trying to escape the city, you're fighting. That looked so amazing. Why did they cut that out? Don't know. And again, I have not reached the later chapters where apparently the story's going to go downhill. But from what I've played so far, 50 hours, dude. I've gotten my money's worth already. It deserves this point, a spot on the list. Loving the game so far. We'll see where I think when I beat the game, but so far, that's what I think about Final Fantasy 15. So, down to the top 5, are we? Number 5, Stardew Valley. So, I'm one of the probably rarer people that have played nearly every Harvest Moon game. Well, I wouldn't say that because they have pumped out so many Harvest Moon games lately. But in the earlier days, I'd played them all, and I played it from the beginning. Super Nintendo, Harvest Moon on the Super Nintendo. First Harvest Moon game. I probably put hundreds of hours into that game. And when I think back into that game, it is such a simple, probably boring game now. And a lot of argument can be that Harvest Moon games are boring in general, but I disagree. So Super Nintendo, and then we got the 64 version, which many praise is the best Harvest Moon game. And I agreed for a while, but now I thought that the Friends of Mineral Town on the Game Boy Advanced, I thought that was the best Harvest Moon game. And the 64 one was a close second. So I love Harvest Moon, dude. Just love Harvest Moon. And I saw Stardew Valley. I don't remember how I came across it. Forums or something. And this site that was made for it. And it's in development. Screenshots, trailers. And I am so hyped for this game. I waited, was it years? I was waiting years for this game. I was like, just waiting and waiting for this game to come out. Because it's like, this is a Harvest Moon game. With all of the crap that, like, Harvest Moon has flaws. Harvest Moon has many flaws. And this game was like, here's a Harvest Moon game with everything you love. All the flaws refined, buffered out. And, so, let me change the song first, because this is not good for... This probably isn't good either. Like, the music's starting to distract me right now, which isn't good. It was a Fallout song, which is kind of distracting with the singing and all. Anyway, where was I? Harvest Moon, so, yeah, Stardew Valley saying we're going to fix all this. And it's just one guy doing it, too. And not only that, the music is so good in this game. Downloaded the soundtrack immediately when the game came out, and I started listening to the music. But I'm only on the second year, and I've put like 70 hours into this game. It is Harvest Moon. It is everything I've wanted in Harvest Moon and more. Like, the customization is there that the Harvest Moon's lacked. You can build your farm however you want. You can marry so many people. Also on PC, it's moddable. The frick, I've modded it very extensively to fit my personal tastes. The fishing's fun as frick. Everything about it, I love. I'm trying to think of something to complain about in this game, and I cannot. I cannot think of one thing that I dislike about Harvest Moon, or not Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley. It is the Harvest Moon that it is like the culmination of what Harvest Moon was on its way to do, and it is. And the creator of Harvest Moon and the creator of Stardew Valley got together and talked, and I watched this video. It's great. Like, they're fans of each other now. The Harvest Moon creator is such a fan of what he did with this format, and of course Stardew Valley is such a fan of the Harvest Moon guy because he made a game based upon all the, so, like, it's such a good game. It's so comfy, it's such a, like, nice game to just sit back and just casually play, because there's no pressure to do anything. You do whatever you want. You want to go mining, you want to go fishing, you want to do some crops, do whatever you want in this game. There's so many like cutscenes and events, way more than a typical Harvest Moon game. So yeah, Stardew Valley, just best this is the best Harvest Moon game now. No, without a doubt, Stardew Valley is the best Harvest Moon game. So yeah, down to number 4. What are we at? Okay, number 4, we got. What did I just press? Window button? Whatever. Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 is number 4. And I had a hard time with my top 5, I ain't gonna lie. Dishonored 2, I was not. Like, I liked Dishonored 1, but it had a lot of problems that I didn't like about it. I guess my biggest problem about Dishonored is that the game punishes you for killing. And the game gives you an insane arsenal of powers and weapons to just destroy anything in your path. And if you do it, the game slaps your hand and says, no, no, no. Throughout the entire game, you're being reminded that you're not doing, you're working, you're getting the bad ending if you keep doing this. That really turned me off. I ignored it, of course, and just killed everybody except civilians. That's what I always killed, the bad guys that deserved it. But they are insane, and the creativity of level design. You can approach any situation in 1,000 ways in these games. I know a lot of games boast that, but it is insane how many approaches you can take in a Dishonored game. Like, you want to infiltrate this house. There's a fish in a pond with a grate. You can possess this fish, swim through the grate, go into the sewer area, then pop up through the sewer area into the building, and then you appear out of the fish. That's just one of the hundreds of ways you can infiltrate this building. So Dishonored 2 comes along. I'm moderately interested because I liked the first one, played it all the way through. I got a playthrough of it on my YouTube channel. So yeah, of course I like the game. It gets slammed pretty hard for the performance issues on PC, so I ignore it for a while, but the reviews are so good, like critical reviews, or it's a good game, amazing level design, etc., etc. So I wait for a beta patch to come out, and then I get it. Not gonna lie, the performance is still garbage. One level I'm getting 60 solid frames per second at 1440p ultra settings. Next level, I can barely manage 30 frames per second. So, very inconsistent performance-wise. It did not harm my opinion on the game at all. It is a much better game than Dishonored 1 in terms of just the fun. Again, the game kind of does do the thing where it's like, don't kill, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can incapacitate enemies, but I am having so much freaking fun just running into a room. Like, the game, I'm playing completely anti what this game wants me to. Well, actually, the game, it encourages you to play however you want, and I'm doing that. I run into a room, just run in. I don't sneak. I just run into a room. There's tons of guys around me, and I'm just like, let's go. And I've got all these things at my disposal to just fight them off. So guys come running at me. I flip and block, chop his head off, and the dismemberment is so freaking good in this game. Goes into slow-mo. You cut a guy's arm off. He winces, then you cut his head off, and it just goes into slow-mo. Then I look over at this group of guys, throw my gust of wind at them. They all fly against the wall and just gib into 100 pieces. Then I look at another group, throw a grenade, they explode, bring my pistol out, shoot a guy in the head. It is so fun. And you can approach this in any way you want. You can sneak around if you want. Kill everybody one by one secretly. You can stop time. Look at everybody. Shoot your gun. Resume time. Bullets go. They're all dead. Just insane amounts of variety in what you can do in this game. And that's just with Corvo. You got a whole nother character you can play through, which I'm going to do once I beat it. I'm going to play through his daughter and see the powers that she has, because it's so fun. But most of all, I have never in a game noticed the level design. How good a level design is in a game until I've played this. Like, I usually just take that for granted and play through a game. I never take mind of how a level is designed and thought out. These levels are mind-blowingly good. Especially the clock tower level. Oh my gosh. You transform entire rooms with... Because it's like an inventor. I'm not trying to spoil anything. You hit switches in an every room, and they transform into a completely different room. The gears are all there. Everything's moving. It is amazing. It is just such a spectacle. And they're completely different rooms after that. And there's puzzles revolving around that. Like, just 10 out of 10. If there was a category for best level design of the year, Dishonored 2 takes it. No competition. Best level design, hands down. The visuals are great. If you do it at ultra, if you do it at low, it can look bad. But I play at ultra. As I said, I sacrificed the frame rate for visuals in this case, and it didn't. Like I said, it did not hurt my opinion on the game. I'm almost done with the game. I've got like one more mission, but dude, love this game. Way better than the first, and the first one's still good, but way better than the first. Definitely takes my number 4 spot, if not higher, if I thought harder about it. So, let's move on. We got number 3. Down to the top 3. And this was kind of a hard choice between Deus Ex and Dishonored 2. But Deus Ex Mankind Divided takes number 3. Deservedly so. We're talking level design. Great level design. Not as good as Dishonored 2, but great level design nonetheless. And here's what I'm realizing about games. With Dishonored 2 and Deus Ex, I have become so obsessed with room clutter. These games do it. Dishonored 2 and Deus Ex do room clutter to such a microscopic detail. They put so much effort into a room. It looks like someone has lived into like every room for like weeks and months and years. You can see clutter laying around, trash in the corner, clothes on the floor. The detail is mind-blowing, and I am obsessed with exploring them, looking under beds and seeing if they hide items under them. They do. There's a pistol under the bed or a health kit, and it is so fun just exploring these extremely detailed environments. And Deus Ex, if Dishonored 2 does Game of the Year in level design, Deus Ex does Game of the Year in terms of room detailing. I encourage anyone just to watch a video or anything on Deus Ex walking into a room, and it legitimately looks like someone has lived into this room. The clutter, the stuff laying around, like a plate of food on the table or something, and it is gone. And there's tons of rooms like this, like hundreds of rooms, and they've gone and detailed all of these. I became so obsessed with Deus Ex. Everybody I saw on Twitter and reviews saying this game is too short. I finished this game in 15 hours. I finished this game in 20 hours. I think this game took me like 45 hours to beat because I was spending like so much time in every room just exploring and looking around, and the paint dry on the wall or someone wrote something here, and there's little letters on the like notepads of reminders of what you need to do today, like feed the cat, do this. Just mind-blowing detail in this game. Let's top that off with just some of the greatest gunplay in this type of a game. Like, you shoot a guy in the head, he's dead. It looks, and the satisfaction, the gun move, the gun animations, the animations of them getting shot, satisfying gunplay. One of the most satisfying gunplays in a game. And I was not expecting that from a Deus Ex, because it's mostly about RPGs and all the different stats you can dance around with and balance with. But this game has great gunplay, and I was encouraged to sneak around a lot in this one, but in other moments I just walk out into the open, guns a-blazing, and it worked because the guns were great, weapons are great, all your special abilities are great. Man, this game was so good. I almost want to replay it. Just rethinking of all the... But yeah, I disagreed with a lot of the complaints about that it was too short, but I think that might have just been because of me being so obsessed with walking around in the levels and everything. I thought I turned notifications off. What the frick was that about? Trying to think of anything more to say. The story's alright. And that's where it does falter a bit. You can see that they're, in my opinion, I think this was a much larger game, and they cut it in half to make a sequel to next year. I think the sequel we're going to see next year is going to be the second half of what this game should have been. So, yes, this game, in terms of story, was lacking, and it seemed like it just got split in half. Like, that's straight up what it seemed like it happened. And we're not listening to KK music, because that would be really distracting. The amount of different ways you can complete a mission, like, just the simplest missions, like, go find this, you could complete it in, like, 3 different ways, with completely different results. Just, great game, man. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Everyone seems to be ignoring that game this year on their top lists. Everyone's ignoring it, and I don't know why. It was amazing. An amazing game. Deserves much more love than it's getting. So, let's move on to number 2. You probably have a good idea of what number 2 and 1 would be if you ever listen to me on Twitter or keep an eye on my social media at all. But number 2, we're going to go with Doom. Definitely Doom. So, if you don't know, obviously, if you do know, most of you know, I'm obsessed with Doom. Doom was one of the greatest games of all time, dude. Like, and then you got the Brutal Doom mod, which just increased it tenfold. I cannot stop playing. To this day, I'll go and just play some custom WODs. Just play some Brutal Doom. Like, probably one of the top 5 best games of all time to me is Doom. I'm talking about Doom 1, by the way, in this discussion. But now we'll move on to the remake, Doom 2016. Everything I saw about this game, the trailers and stuff, I had my hopes up. Ooh, this is looking interesting. Don't know about the fatalities, whatever you call them, the finishers. Wasn't sure about those at first. Kind of turned me off. Wasn't too sure about that. But then when you actually play the game, the flow of the combat is insane. The speed they captured, they checked off all the marks that made Doom great. The speed, the music, the satisfaction of combat. And then they added to it with verticality, which the original Doom did not have. So you're jumping around, jumping down on enemies, shooting over there, shooting up, and the speed, the combat, the weapons are so satisfying. The music, guys, the music in this game is so good. If you don't have, go download the soundtrack right now if you don't have it. Great soundtrack. Probably the best soundtrack of the year. I might have to think about that, but if not number 1, then number 2 soundtrack of the year. The story! Like, who the thought that this game would have an alright story, you know? Who the frick would thought that? The story in this game is fantastic! It's like the demons fear Doom Guy. They sealed him away because they can't handle him. They're afraid of him. So then you get woken by the stupid humans that are trying to channel hell energy, and Doom Guy wakes up, pissed off, sees these stupid humans trying to channel hell energy, sees demons, and he's like, oh, and he just goes out and just kills everything in his path. The demons are, you read up on the demons fearing him. There's all these codexes you can see of how the demons just were scared of this guy. It pretty much, in a way, makes custom WODs from the original Doom, all custom campaigns canon, because Doom Guy is jumping between dimensions and going into different realms and everything, just killing demons over and over and over and over again in every realm and dimension that he can enter. It is such a good story. Like, this game exceeded every expectation of Doom. Like, you see Doom, they're making another Doom sequel, you're like, no. But they did it! They somehow did it in the best possible way. I cannot even think of how they could have made this better than they did. Other than the custom content. The snap map is kind of lacking. Not gonna lie. Snap map's lacking, and they kind of cut off modders with the snap map, unfortunately. So you're not gonna see custom mods in this game, which is really unfortunate, because they think their snap map is the future of infinite mods, but it's pretty limited. But other than that, guys, Doom. If If my number one didn't come out this game would have been number one no matter what. Doom is so good, and I want to replay it. I wish it wasn't 100 something gigs because that would take me 2 days to download. But I'm gonna go and sacrifice my internet for a while because I really want to replay that game. Hands down. And let's move on to number one. Conveniently, if you don't notice the music playing in the background, I've just been having random OSTs playing in the background, and conveniently, well, it just changed, but it was, in fact, from Witcher 3, Blood and Wine, which is, no doubt, in my mind, without a doubt, my number one game of the year, and it's not even a full game. It is an expansion, which I probably put 60 hours into, maybe more, which, that's not an expansion at that point. That's a game. That's a flippin' game. We've got an expansion that was $30 that gives you gameplay and time, game time, competing with a AAA game, if not surpassing AAA time played. After I beat Witcher 3, I shouted off on the rooftops, on Twitter, everything. Witcher 3 is no doubt, in my mind, one of the best games ever made. It might be my number 2 game of all time. And deservedly so. This game is amazing. Like, I cannot, I'm replaying it right now, and I just cannot stop playing this game. It is, I've never just replayed a game right after beating it, like I have this. I'm mumbling and stuttering because there's just so much to say about this game, and I don't know if I could cohesively put to words just how good this game is. And then they released 2 expansions for $30. Hearts of Stone, which was amazing and phenomenal. But then Blood and Wine, in my opinion, blows it away. Blows it out of the water. A whole new gigantic country to explore. Different color palettes and settings. It's like fantasy based. So colorful. And it's, oh gosh, I could just mumble and ramble on how much I love this. The story, the characters, the humor, the drama, and the graphics. The graphics. If you don't know, I have a Flickr where I upload all my best screenshots. And I have thousands upon thousands of screenshots of this game. And I recommend and I highly encourage you to go check them out. Go to my Twitter. I have a pinned tweet linking to my screenshots. I cannot stop taking screenshots from this game. I will RP walk like crazy in this game. If you don't know what that is, it's just like, I'll just go to a city, toggle walk, go into first person mode, which is a mod, and then just walk around the town slowly, just looking around, just soaking it in. The immersion, the atmosphere. It feels like I'm really there. I would pay money, obviously, to get a VR experience of this. It feels like you're there. Like, I'm obsessed with the character Geralt. He is like my favorite character ever now. Like, I would marry him. I would make love to him. I love him. He's flippin' handsome as heck, guys. Like, I'm almost going gay for this guy. Like, I'm not even joking. I love him. The characters are amazing. All the side characters. And, like, it always blows me away. When you go to the bestiary in this game, there are... Like, you play any game, and there's, like, 3 types of enemies you fight. One with a gun, one with a shield, and then, like, a big brute. Like, maybe 10 enemies. Witcher 3 has hundreds upon hundreds of different types of enemies and monsters and demons. And it blows my mind. This game never ends in blowing my mind. I'm just so blown away. And then you go to you switch off the bestiary to the characters, and they all have biographies. Hundreds upon hundreds of unique characters you meet in this game and talk to. They all have a history. They all have routines. They're all thought out, created characters, and there are hundreds of them. And the monsters all have, like, habitat, like, their biographies, like, what they do, their habitat, how they mate, how they communicate. This game, it's like a real world you're entering when you enter The Witcher 3. Gosh, dang it. A lot of complaints, though, about this game has always been the combat. And I will agree that the combat does lack in certain areas. If you turn the difficulty up, I say that if you turn the difficulty up, then the combat complaints are mostly wiped, and it becomes way more tactical. And I played through the game on almost the hardest difficulty, I think. And now on my replay, I'm using a mod that makes me just move really fast when I swing my sword, and it's just so fun. I made the combat way better, in my opinion, with this mod, but I'm just like, guys, if you never even, just try Witcher 3 if you can. And then after that, get Blood and Wine, because it is amazing. I love this, like, I never am interested in a story when I play a game. It's kind of a back burner for me. It's mostly the gameplay, the environment, the level design when I play a video game. Story has to be there, and it has to be interesting to me, but it's never the focal point. And Witcher 3 just fuses the story with the gameplay, the elements. Everything is done for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And you're just so sucked into the stories, and even the side missions. I was praising, actually I was complaining about Final Fantasy 15's side quests and how dull they are, even though I still love them for some reason. But you go to Witcher 3, all the side quests, none of them are dull, none of them are boring. They're all interesting, they all have a story to tell. There's always detail, you always find different. And like I was saying with Deus Ex, this I swear Witcher 3 is just combining everything that I complimented on in my top 10s. Every single tiny quest has like 3 to 5 ways to complete this quest. And every ending to this quest has an outcome different than the first. It's like one character will die, one character won't die, one character lives, one character moves away. That's just a demonstration of just all the insane amounts of variety in one single quest. I could spend an entire evening, and I do this, doing one quest over and over and over again, just to see all the different outcomes of this one single, like, minuscule, irrelevant side quest that has nothing to do with the main story. And I could spend an entire night doing this. When I finished Blood and Wine, my final clock total time for all of my Witcher, from 1 to all the expansions, I think it was like 320 hours. And I have never put that much time into a single player game in my life. Ever. Maybe Harvest Moon game, actually, but other than that, like 300 and something hours in a single playthrough of Witcher 3. That game met every expectation, except for, this is gonna be the weirdest thing, they downgraded the crap out of this in terms of graphics. Like all the bull shots, all the the early trailers looked. You were so blown away by it. Like, you're like, this can't be done graphically. This is amazing. And of course it wasn't. But then to contradict that, I'm taking thousands of screenshots of this game because I think it's the best looking game ever made thus far. Still. So even though there was a downgrade, it's still like one of the best looking games ever made. And just, like I said, I could go on for hours and hours and hours and hours how much I love Witcher 3. But I won't. Just know that I cannot stop loving this game, and it will remain one of the greatest games of all time to me for the rest of my life. And Blood and Wine is part of that. And it's its own thing, its own story. And then the ending of Witcher, Blood and Wine, is so amazing. The send-off, it's like, this is our last Witcher game, thank you for playing. And everything, it's like, oh, like emotions, just, oh my gosh. But yes, so there you have it. That's my top 10 games of the year. I'm sorry if I ramble. I'm sorry for the lack of finesse, the lack of editing. I just wanted to do this, and I knew I was too lazy to do a more refined version, but I wanted to do it. And I enjoyed this, actually. I really did. I'm glad you guys tuned into the stream, and I hope you guys enjoy this on YouTube. But that is definitely my top 10 games of 2016. And good lord, 2017 is looking almost, if not just as good. Actually, there's no Witcher 3 in 2017, so not as good. But you know, let's save another for video, huh? Let's do a top game. I don't know, top 5, top 10 games, most anticipated games of the year next year. Let's do that, huh? That sounds like a good idea. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Top 10 games of my 2016. And yeah, see you later.